Georgia Southern versus Appalachian State. Appalachian State and Georgia Southern renew their Sun Belt rivalry with urgency, grit, and something to prove. It's a meeting of programs built on tradition, each desperate to flip its season narrative before the stretch run. Appalachian State enters at 4-4 overall and 1-3 in the conference, holding a slight edge in win probability at 58%. Georgia Southern, at 3-5 overall and 1-3 in Sun Belt play, comes in hungry and dangerous, a team that's been inches away from turning heartbreak into momentum. Under the lights at Kidd Brewer Stadium, this isn't just another league matchup. It's a gut-check moment where both sides fight for identity, pride, and positioning in a turbulent Sun Belt East. Appalachian State sits in the middle of the pack, still within striking distance, but needing to rediscover consistency. Georgia Southern has shown flashes of offensive brilliance, but remains haunted by close losses. The analytics favor the Mountaineers, yet numbers can't measure desperation, and Georgia Southern arrives with nothing to lose and everything to gain. The stakes are clear. For App State, it's survival in the East race. For Georgia Southern, it's redemption after missed chances. This is a clash of balance versus volatility. Appalachian State's strength lies in its disciplined backfield and front seven toughness. Georgia Southern leans on explosive passing and playmaking in space. With weather expected to hold steady in Boone, all signs point to a clean, fast-paced contest, one that could turn on a single possession. The numbers tell a story of contrast and style. Georgia Southern's offense is powered by quarterback J.C. French IV, who has thrown for 1,677 yards, completing 144 of 234 passes at 61.5%, with 14 touchdowns against 6 interceptions. He's a rhythm passer with touch downfield, and the guts to fit throws into tight windows. His top target, Camden Brown, has been electric. 642 receiving yards on 40 receptions with 9 touchdowns, averaging over 16 yards per catch. In the backfield, O.J. Arnold gives the Eagles their ground balance, rushing for 512 yards and 3 scores at 5.8 yards per carry. Defensively, linebacker Brandon Tyson leads Georgia Southern with 58 tackles, and defensive lineman M. Stroud has been a consistent disruptor, posting 3.5 sacks. It's a defense that bends, often giving up chunk plays, but finds ways to create pressure and contain second-level gaps when the front four gets rolling. Across the field, Appalachian State's statistical identity is defined by versatility. Quarterback A.J. Swan has thrown for 1,083 yards with 8 touchdowns, completing 61.5% of his passes. Behind him, Rashad Dubinian headlines the rushing attack with 756 yards on 138 carries, a workhorse back averaging 5.5 per carry and showing elite balance through contact. His physicality will test Georgia Southern's tackling discipline, particularly in open field situations. On the perimeter, Jaden Barnes brings 445 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns, giving the Mountaineers a reliable route runner who thrives on third downs. Defensively, Colton Ferris is a steady force with 60 tackles, while Elijah McCantos has emerged as a turnover specialist with 2 interceptions. This defense, while inconsistent, has shown flashes of dominance, particularly when it forces opponents into obvious passing downs. On paper, these two teams are nearly identical in total yardage. Georgia Southern's offense has amassed 1,792 passing and 1,096 rushing yards, while Appalachian State sits at 2,246 passing and 1,070 rushing. But the real gap lies in efficiency. App State has scored on 17 passing touchdowns and 9 interceptions combined from its quarterback group, compared to Georgia Southern's 16 passing touchdowns and 6 picks. The Mountaineers have shown just enough balance to keep defenses guessing, whereas Georgia Southern often lives and dies by the success of its aerial attack. The core dynamic is clear. Georgia Southern's passing game must beat Appalachian State's coverage unit, while the Mountaineers' run game must wear down a defense that's been hit or miss in gap control. Momentum paints the emotional backdrop. Georgia Southern has gone 2-3 in its last 5, showing both resilience and fragility. The Eagles fell 34-24 to Arkansas State and 35-10 to James Madison, but flashed life with a 41-24 win over Georgia State and a hard-fought 38-35 loss to Southern Miss. Their offense can light up the scoreboard, but when protection breaks down, turnovers come in bunches. Appalachian State's last 5 games tell a similar story of inconsistency. They dropped a 47-14 game to Boise State, rallied to beat Georgia State 41-20, but fell narrowly 45-37 against Coastal Carolina and 27-23 to Oregon State. They did manage a solid 41-38 win over Old Dominion, showing their offense can go toe-to-toe with anyone when execution is clean. Trends say Georgia Southern's passing game is hot and cold, while App State's rushing unit has found its rhythm. The Mountaineers have averaged just over 30 points in their last 3 contests, while Georgia Southern's defense has allowed more than 30 points in 4 straight. The pattern leans toward a high-scoring affair where whichever team limits turnovers will own the night. Right now, Appalachian State feels steadier, not unstoppable, but functional. Georgia Southern feels dangerous, unpredictable, capable of brilliance or breakdown. That's the intrigue heading into Boone. At the center of it all stands the quarterback duel. J.C. French 4 versus A.J. Swan, 2 arms that define their team's hopes. French has the higher yardage total at 1,677 and a similar completion rate of 61.5%, with a passer rating of 136.4. He's a rhythm player who thrives on early tempo, quick reads, and play action. When he settles, his offense hums. When he's forced into chaos, efficiency plummets. His 14 touchdowns and 6 interceptions show productivity laced with risk. Swan's game is different, compact, efficient, measured. He's thrown for 1,083 yards with 8 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, averaging 7.6 yards per attempt. His deep ball timing is sharp, and his ability to manage drives with intermediate accuracy makes him dangerous. When protected, he's surgical. When pressured, he's less mobile, but still decisive. His rating sits at 135.2, nearly identical to French's, signaling a true toss-up in passing efficiency. The contrast is striking. French brings volume and rhythm, Swan brings control and structure. In a game where one turnover could decide the final score, the steadier hand might prevail. But if Georgia Southern's offensive line gives French time to find Brown over the top, the Mountaineers' secondary could face its toughest test of the season. This matchup is tactical chess layered with emotion. App State's offensive identity revolves around Rashad Dubinion's bruising runs, behind a line that can grind down front sevens. Georgia Southern's defensive key will be Tyson and Stroud, staying disciplined in gap containment and forcing Swan into third and long situations. Offensively, the Eagles will look to stretch the field, using Brown's deep routes and Arnold's screen game to create horizontal stress. In the trenches, the Mountaineers have an edge. Their run-blocking unit has allowed their backs to average over 4.1 yards per carry as a team, while Georgia Southern's collective average sits just under 3.9. On defense, App State's front generates pressure through scheme versatility, mixing 5-man looks with disguised blitzes that create hesitation for opposing QBs. That could be a difference maker against French, who's been sacked 19 times this season. Special teams and discipline loom as hidden factors. Both teams have struggled with consistency in field position battles. A single long return or blocked kick could swing momentum. Expect field possession to matter more than usual, especially with both offenses capable of explosive drives but prone to lapses. After analyzing both teams, My pick for this match is Appalachian State winner, the X Factors. For Appalachian State, it's Jaden Barnes. His ability to convert third downs and stretch drives could keep the Georgia Southern defense on the field too long. For the Eagles, it's Camden Brown, the deep threat who changes defensive alignments the moment he's targeted. Whichever receiver makes the big play first may dictate the emotional tempo of the night. Coaching adjustments will be critical. App State's game plan leans on physical control and tempo modulation, while Georgia Southern thrives in chaos, up-tempo, spread formations, and unpredictability. The team that imposes its rhythm will win. This feels like a classic, not a blowout, not a slog, but a calculated emotional duel that lives in the fourth quarter. Appalachian State's balance on offense and home field familiarity should provide just enough stability to withstand Georgia Southern's aerial surges. The Eagles will make plays. French and Brown are too dynamic not to. But App State's ground control and defensive steadiness could be the separator. Expect Georgia Southern to start fast, using early tempo and misdirection to challenge the Mountaineers' linebackers. But as the game wears on, Dubinion's physicality and Swan's composure should tilt the momentum. This one likely turns on a late possession, perhaps a drive where one quarterback has to make a defining throw under pressure. The difference comes down to efficiency and balance. Georgia Southern's fireworks will keep it tight, but App State's poise and home field edge should seal it late. One team fights to save its season, the other begins to reclaim its identity. And in Boone, under the lights, that identity usually wears black and gold. Total pick for this match is over 56. UTSA Roadrunners versus South Florida Bulls. The lights will burn bright at Raymond James Stadium when the South Florida Bulls, sitting at 6-2 overall and 3-1 in conference, welcome the 4-4 UTSA Roadrunners for an AAC showdown that could tilt the balance of the mid-season race. This is more than a meeting of records. It's a collision of momentum and identity. South Florida, with an 85.8% win probability, enters as the heavy favorite at home. But UTSA, riding the volatility of a season defined by bursts of brilliance and sudden stumbles, won't be intimidated. For the Bulls, this game is about proving they belong among the AAC elite. For the Roadrunners, it's about shaking up the standings and proving they're not just another .500 team. The stakes are high in Tampa. A win keeps South Florida within striking distance of Navy and Memphis atop the American Conference, both pushing toward a potential title run and the intangible momentum that comes with late-season dominance. Every snap, every third down conversion, and every defensive stop carries weight, magnified by the watchful eyes of scouts, media, and fans who understand the championship implications. For UTSA, still hovering near mid-pack, this is about pride and positioning, a chance to remind everyone that their offense can spark with the best when execution clicks, that their line can hold against pressure, and that their skilled players can shine under the bright lights of a nationally televised showdown. Two quarterbacks, two contrasting paths, one November stage, and the atmosphere promises to be electric with the crowd's roar, the crisp fall air, and the tension on the sidelines combining to create a drama that extends far beyond the stat sheet. Each team's strategies will be tested. South Florida's discipline and tempo against UTSA's unpredictability and burst, coaches adjusting on the fly, players rising to moments that will define not just the game, but the trajectory of their seasons. By kickoff, anticipation will have reached a fever pitch, every possession carrying the weight of hopes, rivalries, and the unspoken pressure of legacy. Let's start with the numbers that define these teams. UTSA comes in powered by quarterback Owen McCown, who has thrown for 1,680 yards, completing 67.5% of his passes with 17 touchdowns and just 4 interceptions. His steady hand and sharp decision-making have been the engine behind a unit that averages just under 225 passing yards per game. Running back Robert Henry Jr. leads the ground game with 955 yards on 120 carries. An impressive 8.0 yards per rush and 9 touchdowns. showing burst and vision that can break open a defense at any moment. Their top target, Devin McCuin, has been consistent with 460 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns on 43 catches, operating as McCown's go-to weapon in key downs. On the defensive side, linebacker Shad Banks Jr. leads with 51 tackles and 2 interceptions, while Anyanwu provides pressure off the edge with 5 sacks. But standing across from them is a South Florida team built on balance, grit, and one of the most dynamic dual-threat quarterbacks in the conference. Byram Brown has been the Bulls' heartbeat, throwing for 1,964 yards and 17 touchdowns, while also rushing for 596 yards and 8 more scores. His 62.9% completion rate shows he's efficient but fearless, willing to test defenses deep and extend plays with his legs when the pocket collapses. The Bulls' attack stretches defenses horizontally and vertically. Wide receiver Chaz Nimrod headlines the receiving corps with 466 yards and 3 touchdowns, while running backs Sam Franklin, 356 yards, 4 touchdowns, and Naikahi Davenport, 303 yards, 3 touchdowns, add thunder and balance behind Brown. Defensively, linebacker Mac Harris anchors the group with 69 tackles and 5.5 sacks, while Jarvis Lee patrols the secondary with 2 interceptions. South Florida's defensive front is mean, quick, and opportunistic. 13 team sacks through 8 games and a knack for forcing mistakes in key moments. This is strength versus resilience. The Bulls dominate with pace and dual-threat unpredictability. The Roadrunners counter with efficiency, physical running, and a defense that hits hard between the tackles. Momentum doesn't lie. UTSA's recent stretch has been a roller coaster. A 48-26 win over Tulane showed their offensive potential, but losses to North Texas, 55-17, and Temple, 27-21, revealed defensive inconsistencies. Still, they've won 3 of their last 5, finding rhythm late against Rice and Tulane after tightening their red zone execution. Their defense bends but has shown flashes of resolve when the game script allows the offense to dictate tempo. South Florida's been hot this season, only recently slipping with a 34-31 loss to Memphis. Before that, they dominated FAU 48-13, North Texas 43-24, and Charlotte 63-14. That's an offense averaging over 50 points per game in wins, an avalanche of pace and precision. The difference in tone is clear. South Florida's wins come in waves, their losses in narrow heartbreak. UTSA's victories, on the other hand, come with grind and guts, tight margins, long drives, and defensive adjustments. The Bulls are surging, the Roadrunners are fighting, and that sets up a compelling narrative, a high-octane home offense meeting a disciplined, desperate road team looking to pull the upset. This matchup lives and dies at quarterback. Byram Brown versus Owen McCown isn't just a battle of stats. It's a clash of styles. Brown is the prototype modern AAC quarterback. Mobile, explosive, confident under pressure. His 1,964 passing yards, 17 touchdowns, and 148.2 passer rating only tell part of the story. The other half is his ability to turn broken plays into game-changing scrambles. His 596 rushing yards and 8 scores on the ground give South Florida a second dimension most teams can't contain. McCown, meanwhile, brings structure and rhythm. His 143.5 passer rating and 67.5% completion rate underline a quarterback who thrives on timing, precision, and protection. He's thrown 17 touchdowns to just 4 picks, delivering consistency that has kept UTSA competitive in nearly every game. Where Brown improvises, McCown orchestrates. This is where Saturday's chess match unfolds. South Florida's defensive front, led by Mac Harris and his 5.5 sacks, will aim to disrupt McCown's timing and force him off script. Conversely, UTSA's linebacking unit, anchored by Banks Jr. and Anyanwu, will need to contain Brown's mobility, collapsing pockets without overcommitting. It's not just quarterback versus QB, it's chaos versus control. Here's where the tactics meet the talent. UTSA's formula is clear. Run the ball, control the clock, and let McCown pick his spots downfield. Henry Jr.'s 8.0 yards per carry gives them explosive potential. But to exploit it, the offensive line must neutralize South Florida's aggressive front. The Roadrunners average solid efficiency between the tackles, but they struggle when forced into third and long situations, exactly what the Bulls' defense thrives on. South Florida's defense doesn't just stop drives, it flips them. With 13 team sacks, a dynamic linebacker unit, and a turnover-hungry secondary, they feed off pressure. If they get UTSA behind the sticks, expect blitz packages to crash hard on McCown's pocket. On the other side, UTSA's defense faces its biggest test yet. Brown's ability to both pass and run makes him nearly impossible to scheme against. He leads his team in both passing and rushing, and with weapons like Nimrod stretching the field, UTSA's safeties will be forced to cheat deep, opening lanes underneath for Franklin and Davenport. Coaching adjustments will be critical. South Florida has thrived on tempo and play action. UTSA will aim to slow it down, shorten possessions, and win time of possession. The Bulls want fireworks. The Roadrunners want trench warfare. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is South Florida winner, an X-factor to watch. Mac Harris's defensive impact. He's the kind of linebacker who can wreck drives with backfield penetration or coverage disruption. On UTSA's side, Robert Henry Jr. will need to find creases early. If he can force the Bulls to stack the box, McCown could find space to exploit over the top with McCown's route precision. Raymond James Stadium will be loud, the stakes heavy, and the energy undeniable. UTSA brings a balanced attack and the heart of a team that never quits, but South Florida's athleticism, quarterback play, and defensive speed are simply on another level right now. Expect the Roadrunners to hang tough early. Henry Jr. will break off a few chain-moving runs, and McCown's poise will keep them in striking distance through the first half. But once Brown settles in, his mobility and downfield connection with Nimrod will start to separate the Bulls. By the fourth quarter, fatigue and field position will tip the balance. South Florida's versatility and defensive front will make the difference, closing the door on another home victory. Discipline, speed, and a dynamic quarterback define this one. The Bulls keep their AAC momentum alive and send a message that they're built for November football. Total pick for this match is over 63.